everyone, and welcome back from break. So you might think this session's about real-time data, but we are all actually going to pull out our computers and build agents right now. So it's actually a trick. No, just kidding. So I think, we've heard today a lot about AI. There's a lot of excitement about it. And I think what Yuli and I are going to do today is try to demystify it a little bit and also illustrate why really becoming advanced with AI, why it's hard. It's not a simple thing, and there's really good reasons for it, and there's things that we all want to be thinking about. And I know it's in the afternoon, it's late, everyone's probably thinking about cocktails or maybe your favorite show or just maybe taking a nap, I don't know. I'm coming from North America, so I'm like hanging on by a thread. But basically, just remember that your AI progression and progress is fundamentally rooted in your data foundation and your data maturity. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. So we saw a lot of presentations earlier in the morning where we were asked, how many people are feeling like they're an expert with AI? And it actually surprised me. I thought there'd be a lot more hands up in the air because I feel like we hear about it all the time. And it makes you think that every company is doing it so well, but we know that there's a range with how people are doing. And I think the key thing to me, and this is true really with all technology, because many people in here have implemented maybe CRM for the first time. Maybe you've been involved with BI tools. It really doesn't matter. I think the key is always thinking about you want progress over perfection. And we hear that all the time, but it's easy to be, I think after an event like this, you get like really pumped up and excited and you go back to your office and it's like, wow, we've got a long way to go, but we want to inspire you and we don't want it to feel too hard because I think there's a lot that you can do. So I think when we think about AI-powered everything, I want to really break it down into these two areas because I think AI, just you hear a lot about it and it can come across as, I feel like in a way sometimes nebulous. It's like there's agents, there's things like Canva where we do design, there's so many different layers. But for this conversation, I think the way I like to think about it is AI that we use externally. So for the customer experience, AI-powered content. So that's where we're using customer data to inform some of those experiences. But also, let's be real, it's the internal AI that is also really important for many of us. That helps us get insights. It helps us be more efficient. That's a lot of what I get excited about because many of us, as we've heard, we don't maybe have the team sizes, all the things that we want, and that can improve efficiency gains quite a bit. So there's really those two areas, and both I think are very, very exciting. And if you kind of then take this to the next stage, so when we think about AI for customer experience, it's really no different than when we think about customer experience even several years ago. We're all on board with it being multi-channel, but where you start to think about this with AI is a lot of the tools we use. Maybe that's your marketing automation tool. Maybe that is your website. It doesn't matter, mobile, IoT. They all are starting to have some of their own AI solutions embedded. So you're like, okay, that's getting to be a little more complicated. And then when you go internal and you think about your CRM system, your BI tools, your data lakes, it doesn't matter. A lot of those tools are starting to get AI embedded in them as well. So that kind of leaves us with a lot of questions because you can start to think, I might get good at one particular use case, but the big question of today is, how do I ultimately scale and make that better? So here are some additional questions that we're going to explore.
Yeah, and we all run versus AI. And what does it mean? So we have lots of questions. And those questions are definitely around, where should I start? So what is the start of my AI journey? Is AI the single source? I'm going to do that, really? So those are the questions that we talk and we ask ourselves. Also, what we do is like, which kind of model should we use? Should we use a vendor model that is out there, everyone can use, everyone can leverage? Or should I build my own model? Maybe I have the data, I can do that. But it's a question that I'm asking myself. Also, what is the data set? If I'm going to create my own model, so what is the data set I'm going to use? Is it the data that I have from my CRM? Is it behavioral data? So lots of questions around that. And then finally is, where do I use the AI? What are the touch points that I want to use AI? What are the value that I want to get out of AI when I'm interacting with my customers? And those questions are the questions that we try to answer with the next couple of slides that I'm going to show. And those questions are related to my AI strategy, 100%. So the next one is like, well, I'm a solution consultant in my heart, so I love data architectures. Maybe some, they are scared. We have seen already a couple of really nice ones. And when you're going to see my data architecture, you will see one common thing. We all speak the same language. And I think this is so important. So to build a data foundation, we need to start from today. So what's happening? So there are lots of AI-powered databases out there. So data lakes, cloud data warehouses, cloud data platforms, so CRMs, you name it. And they are really good databases. They have good data, and you can run AI models on those databases. No question on that. And of course, they need data to get in. So they normally have data like, transactional data. They have second and third party data, or just, customer MDM data or whatever. So it's quite various. And they are going to feed the database on in a batch mode. So pulling the data in, pushing the data in, however method you use, this is in batch, and it's going to be there. And then what's happening is with the data in the data warehouse, you are going to run your models, and then you are passing it over to your destinations. Maybe it's an analytic, a BI solution. Maybe it's call centers, emails, technologies, personalization tools, whatever. But you are limited because you only have transactional data. You only have customer data. And maybe you have second and third party data. And again, the data that goes out of the data warehouse is in batch. The industry calls data in ETL and data out of a data warehouse reverse ETL. Funny enough, right? That we always, in marketing, we create, or in technology, we create 3 letters acronyms. So why not saying, we create an SQL query? So that's the way. But what about the other data that we are going to talk, that we heard this morning, the behavioral data, the customer interactions? Bahia Principal was talking about customer interaction. Compare the Market was talking about customer interaction. Everyone this morning talked about customer interaction, and this is the real data that you need to think of that is leveraging your models. And so website, mobile apps, call center, in-store. Of course, you can bring it in, but it's in batch, and we heard that real-time is so important. Therefore, to build that, Tealium is there. Of course, Tealium is there. So with our streaming capabilities in real time, using tags, using SDKs, using integration methods that we learned also from my team yesterday, using the cloud data warehouse, Snowflake integration, getting data in real time and using it, this is where Tealium plays a role. And not only that, because Tealium is then also providing the real-time data, is helping you on the normalization, it's collecting and honoring consent. We heard that also yesterday and saw it on the screen. That is so important. We do identity resolution, we create contextual attributes, and finally, we also deliver the integrations. Integrations into all the marketing technology stack that you have. And this is so important to have. And why I'm telling that is, why do we need Tealium? Is because then Tealium is also helping you to push that data in your cloud data warehouse. And now you have real-time data in addition, real-time and behavioral data in addition to your existing transactional data. And your models, they can run on that. And now you can start scaling because Tealium helps you not only to bring you the right data, but it's also helping you to activate the data. The results that you are getting out of all your algorithms is going to be easy to use. And this is where we start calling it the customer data foundation. This is the customer data foundation that you need to start to think, you need to start to create that, because with this customer data foundation, you are able to fed this, the data, the right data in your models, and they can be more efficient. You can scale, and you can be successful with the models. Because we know the biggest problem, and Jeff was talking about it, Mike was talking about, data wrangling is a huge time effort and resource effort. So with Tealium, we are going to be the technology that helps you in doing that. And then what's also happening is that in the database, you train your models in the centralized AI. And they are running the large data sets. They are giving you the possibilities to get the right insights. And you name it. Those technologies are Snowflake, our partner and sponsor here, but also others like AWS, Databricks, Azure, you name it. There are so many other cloud data platforms that are doing that centralized AI. And then also what we learned, I think Mike was talking about that, is that on the edge, there are also lots of models that are running. And those models are on the channels. And you also need to fed them with data and use that. There are also models on small devices, iPhones. We know that this is also important to understand that the devices, they are running small models, and they are also giving you lots of insights and scoring. But if you have just a device, think about that you are going onto a cruise where there's no connection. Well, I live in Germany. If you go on the train, you have no connection. So think about if you want to, as a company, want to do something, in that moment, you can't using just a device, a model on a device. So you need to have Tealium for that. And finally, we also learned from Bob and Jennifer that AI will also be in Tealium. We have it already today. We have an AI assistant that Bob was talking. There is lots of AI that is used. So, and to make AI available for everyone in real time, you need to think about this kind of data foundation. To summarize, AI runs across all your company data. And this can be the foundation of your AI and can be a blocker, but it could also be an enabler. And I think this is important to understand and is the key for unlocking AI success.
Great, thanks. And so this is actually, it's really great where Ullisse kind of ended, and I want to make sure that's clear to everyone that everything he just went through is what we're referring to as the data foundation, and that helps with your agility and being able to activate AI and making sure that you have the right consented data. But there's kind of another piece of this that I think we've also heard from folks, and this is a quote that we got from Deloitte, and that AI adoption is really at the pace of your organizational change. And I think that we've seen so many people talk today about how important this is to bring your organization along for the ride and make sure that you have the right things in place. Because again, 9 times out of 10, technology is not where the challenge is. And just to illustrate this a little bit further, we have the really fun, everyone's favorite model, crawl, walk, run. And we're just going to go through this just to illustrate the point. But in a lot of cases with AI, we talk to a lot of organizations and really across the globe. And I'd say right now in this area, a lot of folks here today are doing an incredible job. It's pretty impressive. And we see often that organizations will get one use case up and running, and they feel really, really good about it. But ideally, you want the ability to go from not just one use case, but really to where you're walking, where it's one to many. and then ultimately where you're running, where you're more of an AI-first organization, and you're really getting to that efficiency and scale. And that's, I think, where we all want to be able to get to across the board with a lot of our technology, but there's reasons that that is hard and doesn't happen that easily. And I will say, for this example, pre-crawl, that's really where we're talking about collecting the data, doing some of the data wrangling, and building the models. So that's even prior to that. So again, like one of the takeaways I think just for people to think about is that AI isn't really just a single application. It's not a use case you run once. If you just think about other simple examples at work, it's like, think about if you got marketing automation and you ran one campaign. You wouldn't say, hey, we're done. It's like you want to be able to expand and use that technology and push it to the edge. And so really that data foundation is what's critical here. So bear with me, we'll go through this. It'll be really fun. These grids are great. So we have people, process, technology, because we can, and we're adding data and AI to this just to illustrate the point. So like I mentioned, a lot of people will get one AI use case off the ground, and we have some really interesting data that shows that's about 20 to 30% of companies right now are here. And if you think about it, that's already pretty advanced, which is impressive. So one successful AI use case. And then if you think about technology, and I've been in the technology space for a long time, and really technology, I think often people buy into technology, and I'll even say this for Tealium, it's exciting, it works really well, but we all know that technology in and out of itself, it's not enough. And technology 9 times out of 10 works really well. It's the process and people that make it challenging. Now, same with AI. In a lot of cases, if you look back maybe 6, maybe 8 years ago, a lot of money and investment were going into AI models, but we're seeing more and more that AI models are being commoditized. You can go buy models. That's not really what's going to be the limiting factor. So what ends up holding you back from getting to that run phase where you can be AI first, where you have like sad faces in your boxes, which none of us want, is really around the data, which we just talked about, having that data foundation, but also the process, which is really important. And so this also illustrates this really well. This slide's a build, but you can see like many of us data foundation as far as having like data collection, data management, we're in good shape there. BI and doing like the classic BI work, I think that's been around for a while. Then you kind of can move to machine learning. A lot of organizations have machine learning models that we've been using for a while, but really when you want to get to the AI-driven automation and being AI first, that's where that data foundation, if you don't have it in the right kind of setup and you haven't thought through it, and I would even argue you have a team that thinks about it all the time, that's where you start to become limited. And again, something that I'm a big believer in is nothing is ever set it and forget it in tech, as much as we all want to do that. And I feel like it's when you get done with some of these projects, you sort of just want to like say peace out and maybe take a trip to the great resort that we just saw. But the reality is there's always new things that are coming into play that you need to be thinking about. But I think this is what we're seeing across the board. It's that data foundation that can really hold you back. So just seeing what Ullisse just showcased, if you have something like that in place, that'll be a big advantage. And I do want to highlight this because I think we've seen it in a few of the examples earlier today around process. And I love when people say, you have your tech and yeah, just have your process and people, and they'll magically be amazing. And this is the part I think that's really hard. I'm really simplifying it with this beautiful line. But what I want to highlight is this is what I see work over and over when we talk to customers and partners. And the first thing, and you'll see from today, there's different names, but creating a center for excellence, a core team, it doesn't matter what you name it, but start with the people and pull them in. Don't do this in a silo. People like to be taken along for the journey. Your IT team doesn't like surprises. We've all lived through that. It's not fun. And so just think about who needs to be in this group. Have somebody from the data team, AI, maybe in some cases even your legal team, marketing. Create this group, identify the key things in your business that matter the most. Are you trying to grow? Is retention an issue? What are those things? And start to say, these are the most important use cases for us to prioritize. Then you want to start getting those, kind of like mapped out. Look at your tech stack, make sure that you can start moving in that direction. And then report out on progress and repeat and iterate. And the thing that I would highlight again is just make sure that you're always communicating what your process looks like. In some cases, business leaders, I see this a lot where they think, okay, my team's going to implement AI, we'll get great results next week. It's almost like this event. Our CEO is like, okay, do you guys have pipeline tomorrow? We're like, it doesn't work like that. It takes time. So I think so much of this is about expectation setting, but I also want to leave you with, it's not impossible. You can do it. It just, you have to have these thoughtful steps. And then, second, the data foundation. Yuli did an amazing job going through this. It looks like a lot, but we're just trying to be thorough. Don't be scared by it. I think when you start to map out what you have and just identify where there's pieces that are missing and make sure that you have this. And I would even say you need this not just for AI, you need this for multi-channel marketing, doing anything you want to do. If you want consented data, we've all seen the marketing campaigns with bad data. And you're just like, I'm not Mark. Why am I getting an email that says Dear Mark, which I still get from time to time. So we don't want that. So what's really required for this? There's just 3 simple things. Making sure that you have the ability to have up-to-date current data, and Tealium helps you do that. We collect server-side, client-side data. So for AI, you can make sure it's consented, filtered, ready to go. You saw Jeff talk about that one of our customers, it's like, I prohibitively have to use you for this. You've made it so easy. It's really critical. The second piece we know about, having consented data because that's the world we're in and it's important. But the third, the middle one, that's where a lot of us get stuck. You can build a model, but if you can't activate it in that moment that matters, like Mike was talking about, it's not really, you put in a lot of work not to get a lot of results. So think about, you want to be able to get the scores off models and activate that in real time when it matters. So these things are important. So again, key point here.
Yeah, what is important is that your AI journey is grounded with your data maturity journey. And I think this is important to understand. And Heidi, by the way, I like that the second point that you showed was the data architecture that I showed. But coming back to what we learned also from all sessions today, and this morning I was like, oh yeah, this is what we are going to talk about today. This is going with that we are also showing. So, and if we look at that slide here, so we see the first column, it's about AI. It's about what we have done, what we talk. It's about the modeling, lookalike segmentation. It's about forecasting. It's about probabilistic cleansing identity. So this is what we have done. But now, if you're starting to create your data foundation with Tealium, you can think about the other boxes. You can think about the rows to create a row, like the propensities or building assistance, or you can think about the columns, like creating next best offer, a recommendation. They are all use cases, and maybe use cases are then within a box, like more recommendation use cases. Or in the end, what is also quite important, and we talked a lot about the agent, so automation, bringing use cases with the data foundation that you created into use cases that are in the automation space. So really, really good. So this, if you want to take a picture of this one, this is how you can go back and say, well, I'm trying to do as next, I'm going to do next best offer, or I'm going to do assistant AI. So these are the use cases, at least the groups, the categories that you need to think about and create your strategy on. And I see already a couple of people taking out the phones, so really like it. Good. So top 3 takeaways from today's session.
Yeah, so the first one, the good news is if you're a Tealium customer, you're in good shape. You've already started down this path. So it's kind of nice to go back to your office and be like, yeah, we're already doing this and in good shape. It's nice. It's one less thing you have to do.
The second takeaway is, if you are not a Tealium customer, we can help you to start a data foundation. We have experience, we have customers advocating what we do, and we can make it easy to prioritize your interoperability with your AI, with your data warehouses, and so on. So this is the second takeaway. And the third one, it's not a takeaway, it's more a call to action for you all. We have the data maturity quiz downstairs at the Genius Bar. At the Genius Bar, you can ask the SCs to go through. Downstairs, there is a point where you can start the quiz and get it where the coffee breaks are, and get a survey out of your data maturity. And you can pull in your data, and then you get out your data maturity. Thank you.